Hey guys, I wanted to do a short video today on how to handle a seized caliper before it becomes a bigger problem. That's what I wanted to do, but instead what we're going to do is a short video on how to handle a worst case scenario. Yeah. Awesome. Alright guys, here's what we're looking at. My buddy was bringing this car over so that I could change this caliper because it had seized onto the rotor. We thought we could make it here. We were wrong. Here's what happened. The caliper seizes onto the rotor, causes excessive heat. You can see right here, it wore the rear brake pad away. It was actually digging into the caliper. The rotor was. Rear brake pad is gone. This front one's still here. It's actually got a lot of meat left on it, but you can see it's all worn down completely unevenly. That's because this back piston was seized. This bottom one was seized, pushing this rotor only onto there. The rear brake pad's completely gone. Not sure where it ended up. So from the caliper being locked onto the rotor, excessive heat generated in the rotor. That heat soaked into the hub assembly, into the wheel bearing. It caused all the grease to evacuate the wheel bearing. You can see up here is all grease. All on the inside of the rim is all the wheel bearing grease that melted and then flew out as the wheel was spinning. At that point, once the bearing's not greased anymore, and it's got this heat soak, it seizes. Forward momentum. Actually, wow, yeah, there's grease all on the inside of this splash guard from that wheel bearing. Yeah, so bearing seizes, and forward momentum of the car just rips everything. I mean, this is a piece of the CV down here. Excuse me, this is a piece of the outside of the wheel bearing. This is the inner race of the wheel bearing. The outer race is just gone. It's probably on the road somewhere. It broke the hub right off. It actually backed the axle nut off to a point, and then there's a huge chunk taken out of the axle there. Spindle's broken. Everything's kind of screwed here. Was it avoidable? Yes. Admittedly, probably my fault. Should have just called for a tow. I didn't want to waste the time, and now this is where we're at. So damage control. We need a new CV. We obviously need a whole new knuckle and hub assembly. We need a new rotor. We need a new brake caliper. We need a new ABS sensor because it got broken in half. And I think that's it. Rim is in good shape. Tires in good shape. Brake line doesn't look bad, even though it landed on the bottom of this control arm. When the wheel flew off when we were driving, it landed here, but the ball joint, the control arm down there look fine. Tie rod end looks fine. So we're gonna try to change all the brake components, the knuckle, wheel bearing, CV axle, and see if that does it. Alright, so I hit up the U-Pull yard this morning. Was able to get this whole assembly. I think it's everything we need. New rotor, new brake caliper. It's all attached on the knuckle. The beauty of doing it this way is I don't have to get a wheel bearing and press it in because I do not have a press. Buddy Eric does, but I don't feel like bothering him right now. It's got the CV on it. I checked the rotor. It's got a bunch of meat. Checked the pad. They got a bunch of meat left. I was able to turn the wheel bearing. It doesn't feel loose. It doesn't seem like it's making a lot of noise. That noise you were just hearing is just the pad scraping against this rust. This thing was sitting in the junkyard for a while. CV boots are in good shape. So, I mean, this was over $100, but to get all that stuff new would be several $100s. Also got a new ABS sensor, because like I said, the other one broke. So we're gonna see if we can make this an easy fix. Yeah, I'm not really doing a how-to on this one. I kind of just wanted to show you guys worst case scenario. Honestly, I should have known enough to just pull over and get it towed. We were literally a mile from my house. I thought we could make it. Now I got, you know, my whole Saturday is doing this when it could have just been a new caliper. So yeah, listen to your car, man. All right, I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so there is a damage like we went over. Broken rotor. These are all pieces of the wheel bearing, inner race, probably a piece of the outer race. These are actually pieces of the CV, which you can see. I don't know if the CV was bad to begin with, or if it's the heat, or just the trauma, but it's way shot now. Okay, right here, you can see inside the spindle where the wheel bearing went bad. That right there is the ABS sensor. It's got all shards of metal, actually like almost welded on there. Yeah, I was wrong. This ball joint, actually the nut sheared off the bottom, so I do need a new ball joint. That'll be the only new piece that we have to get for this. Everything else we were able to get at the junkyard, which is good, keeps the cost down. Alright, so we're almost there. The CV is in, and the cross pin that holds it into the trans is in. The brakes are connected so that the brake line wouldn't leak anymore. I'm waiting to put the camber bolt and the bottom strut bolt in because I'm waiting on a new ball joint for the bottom. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep this tie rod end. It's a little bit shitty, but I could probably run it for a little bit. Yeah, project's almost done. Took all day though. Final cost with the ball joint, if I don't do the tie rod end, $150. Could have been a lot worse. If you took it to a shop, forget about it. A couple grand if you bought all the parts new. Several hundred, I assume. Maybe on Rock Auto you could have got away with all the parts new for $300. But 150 at the U-pull, counting a brand new ball joint from Advanced. Better, I guess. I'll check back in when project's done. Shouldn't be long now. Alright, we got everything back together. I forgot to take a video before I put the tire on. But like I said, this wasn't a how-to. It was really just a public service announcement. Don't ignore the strange sounds your car is making. There's a little bit of fender damage I don't have to roll out. But everything worked out this time. I think I spent about 150 bucks. Everything used except for the bottom ball joint. Had we gone through, if I'd done the work myself and bought all the parts, probably 300 plus. If you took it somewhere, forget about it, over $1,000. So U-pull is your friend, and don't ignore the sounds your car is making.